The remainder of this section is on composing of functions. This is the fifth operation that we can do with functions that we're covering in this section. Okay, so f composed G or f circle G is written this way, with an F, with a little circle, and then a G. So instead of writing a solid dot, which would be times, you write a hollow dot. It means compose. Now, it's very common for people to say F circle G. That's perfectly fine. I always say F compose G because that's what it actually means, rather than saying what the symbol is. So the definition, F compose G, is the function defined by F compose G of X equals F of G of X. So if you plug in a number for X, the first thing you do is you do G to it, and then you do F to it. You work out from the X. Okay? So that's all it means. So for example, 1, if G of 1 is 2 and F of 2 is 8, then F compose G of 1 is F of G of 1. Right? That's just the definition here. Equals F of 2. Well, G of 1 is 2. It says so right here. And then F of 2 is 8. Okay, so you need to be able to do problems like that and understand them. So this is what's happening. G is taking 1 as an input to the output 2. F is taking 2 as the input and giving output 8. F compose G is going from 1 to 2 to 8. It doesn't actually go directly to 8. That's important to know when we're figuring out the domain of these things. It's like if these are 3 islands, say that there's no direct flight from this first island to the third island. You have to have a stopover in this second island before you move on. That's the way composition of functions works. So let's try an example. F of x equals square root of x, and g of x equals x squared plus 1. And we're going to compose these. So f compose g of x equals f of g of x, which is the square root of x. The f function is the square root function. So I'm just taking this x and replacing it. See, the x is replaced with g. So this x and this x are replaced with g of x. Okay, and then just write out what g of x is there. Now with little practice, you can do this all at once here. Just make sure that if it gets complicated, that you write it out to make sure you're getting it right. So f composed g of x is the square root of the quantity x squared plus 1. And we can compose f and g the other way. So g compose f. That's g of f of x. So what we call the outside function is g, and f of x is called the inside function for this one. And so the outside function is x squared plus 1. So what I usually do is, you could do it this way. So replace the x in g with f of x, and then just write in what f of x is. So you end up with open paren square root of x close paren squared plus 1. And that's going to be x plus 1. Now notice these are not the same, which tells you that composition in general does not commute. There are certain functions where these two are the same, but for most functions these are completely different things. So f compose g is not the same as g compose f in most cases.